Hello, YouTube friends. Dustin Bellinger here, and going to be taking you through the various Hall of Fame cards in my collection from different sets from 1920 to 1929. Before I get started, I'll set a little foundation for this era. You want to recall that this time period, uh, the world was moving out of the shadow of the end of World War I. We hadn't yet hit the Great Depression, and as far as baseball cards are concerned, uh, the tobacco cards have pretty much ended, and the majority of the sets you're going to see at this time are going to be composed of a lot of strip cards, a lot of exhibit cards, which were distributed in vending machines, and spattering of candy cards as well. So getting started here with this 1920 Harry Hooper. This is an example of a strip card from the era. Now, the catalog designation on these, the W516, actually composes of 5 distinct little subsets that are all part of this group. They've got variations with the image and the way that the player's name, team, position, and that the typeset, all of that. The variations on those is how that they you can determine them along with the player checklist. Now these cards would have been marketed to kids through like a five and dime type store item. You'd purchase a strip of essentially cheaper cardboard that would have uh, in this case the set was 30 players, so it was probably uh, 5 maybe 6 players on a strip, and then the kids when they purchased them would then cut the individual cards apart. And normally blank backs are pretty common with this type of issue. And next here I've got a 1921 exhibit of George Kelly. Now exhibit cards at this time, like I said, were being sold normally through vending machines. Uh, there were some other methods that they might be distributed through, but the vending machine was pretty much the most common. Thing to point out with the years on these exhibit cards is that exhibits wasn't functioning like Tops or Panini is today, where they created a set to market for that year. They were constantly updating and making changes to their sets whenever sale fluctuations decided that it was warranted. Hey, we're not selling as many. Let's add a couple of new players to this baseball card set and pump it out to our distributors. And the distributors would be the companies that owned the vending machines or the individuals that owned the vending machines. They'd be buying the cards directly uh, from them and then selling them to the public through the vending machine. Throughout the exhibit card sets, there's some rather rare postcard backs. You'll see some that have kind of a redemption advertisement in the corners. Those are kind of rare, and also uh, various color tints that are also uh, much more scarce than the standard issues that I'm showing here as well. Moving on here, Oxford Confectionery is an example of some of the candy card issues that were still in circulation at this time. Pretty much you'd stop seeing any type of tobacco issues, but the candy issues focused towards the kids were still pretty common. This 1921 strip card W551. This set featured athletes from various sports and includes 10 baseball players in the set. Next, we've got a 1922 Nielsen's Chocolate V61. Uh, this has 2 different advertising backs. backs. The printing on them is a little bit different. The Type 1 back has Nielsen's in an Old English script incorporated into the advertising. And these are believed to be a Canadian issue. They were advertising Nielsen's Big League chocolate bars. We got a 1922 exhibit of Frank Home Run Baker. Now, interesting with the exhibits, the set is often dealing with an approximate year as to when that set was created, but where these are sold through vending machines and through third-party vendors, it's very possible that old stock or inventory that you could potentially be purchasing a card from one of these vending machines that was issued several years before. So, the 1922 is not necessarily the date to when the card would have been distributed, but it gives you a reference as to its creation date. This next set, 1922 American Caramel E120. Now, those should look pretty familiar to you, very much like that Nielsen's chocolate issue. Similar design with this oval. This was a set of 240 players. Now, the National League players have this green tint that you see, while American League players had a tan colored tint to them. And the frame around this oval is unique for each different team. So the frame here for a Pirates player is going to be different than the frame for a Cubs player, and for each individual team. So there was 8 teams in the league included in this set, and so there's 8 different little frame designs. And each back had basically a team checklist for the other players from that team that were included in the set. Quick look here at Epirixie from the same set before moving on. Being distributed the same time, also by American Caramel. They also had this additional set of 120 cards. This was cataloged as E121. Now, this catalog designation also includes a series of 80 cards that American Caramel had out the previous year in 1921 that I don't currently have in the collection. One of the most rare issues I have in my collection from this time period is this 1923 Curtis Ireland Candy issue of Stan Kovaleski. It's been heavily trimmed. It had a much wider border originally, which the back image makes clear. The back explains how the item was a promotional item and could be sent back in, and you could potentially win a Spalding baseball. Next here, we've got another type card from the era, 1923 W515. Similar, the rather, crude drawings, inexpensive cardboard. Like I said, these were marketed for kids and really cheaply made and produced. This catalog designation incorporates 2 sets that were really similar and contain the same player checklist of 60 cards. W572 here, another example of a strip card from the era. This one's pretty roughly cut here, this Billy Southworth. These utilize the same player images as one of the American Caramel sets that I showed you earlier. It's pretty common in this time period. Why, go through the expense of collecting your own photo images when you could just purchase images that had already been taken and were available to use for sports cards like this. And now most of these are blank back, but there are some pretty rare examples that do have a sponsor back printed on them. Now here we've got W590, another strip card set from the late 1920s. These were distributed for several years. Unfortunately, it's an unknown producer on these. Once again, common with these is the blank backs, and these actually did have images, photos rather than illustrations. But here, like in 1926, you had the W512, it's Grover Cleveland Alexander, which is another example here of a strip card with illustrations. This one was a set that included 50 famous people and included 10 baseball players in it. And we've got 1927 W560 Herb Pennock. This set, which was another strip card set, had a playing card design. Although it's a little bit odd, the set only contains 49 players, so I'm not sure how that works together then with a 52 card deck of cards. You would have been missing a few cards if you had the entire set. 1927, we have York Caramel, so different candy company here besides American Caramel. This E210, this actually has two types, which I believe corresponds to two different printing runs for the set. It looks like they printed up one printing run and then decided to come out with another run of the same set. So you've got a little bit of variation in the card stock and some variations in the advertising back between the first and second printing run on these. Here we have a couple of rough 1927 exhibit cards. And we have here the 1928 Yuengling ice cream. Yuengling's was one of a couple of different ice cream companies, all the same year that ran similar ice cream type promotions featuring baseball cards. If you take this one's been heavily trimmed, of course, again, but if you read on the back, it's got instructions on how you could collect the entire set of these and be able to redeem them for a gallon of ice cream. A 1928 exhibit card here of Ted Lyons. Getting near the end of the decade here, the 1929 R315. This one here, Dazzy Vance. This set has what's considered to be four different type variations. This one here, Dazzy Vance, is what's considered a type B. You've got his name and team inside of a white box, and then you've also got the information down there printed in the white border below. Whereas the Stonewall Jackson here, this is what's considered a type A. You've got this name and team in the white box, but you don't have his position, team, and league down printed in the white border. There's also a type C and D, similar situation, but rather than the team name and player name being in a white box, they're just simply kind of printed as a part of the photo and not separated out of in a box. So one of the more valuable cards I have from this era is my Lou Gehrig card. It's from the 1929 W553. This is again a strip card. These were cut, I believe, from candy boxes from the marble bubblegum novelties. Uh, but there's also examples of the card from this set that were allegedly distributed in packs as well. And here we have 1929 Cash and Publications, catalog R316. These were distributed in kind of what you'd call a pack, but was more of a cardboard box, and it contained a subset of the set of 25 cards, and they were then just if you got the entire set, it was 101 players in the set, and I believe that the Babe Ruth in this set was potentially a double print card. And a lot of these images were also utilized in some Gaudi sets later on that became quite popular, that helps add to the allure and popularity of this set. Right, thanks very much for watching. Appreciate anybody that stuck with me and listened to me ramble here. But if you've got something that I don't have in my type collection, please feel to reach out to me. I'm always looking for things I don't have. Anyway, thanks again. Probably be a set that video here for the 1930 sets that maybe somebody will watch that one, but not likely. Anyway, take care. Bye now.